Well, we've talked a lot about the sequester, but another battle is brewing in Washington. The Supreme Court is in talks to change a key point in a decades-old law that makes states like Georgia, with a history of racial tension, get permission from the feds before they change any voting laws. Well, this is obviously controversial right now because lawmakers are trying to do just that, making local elections nonpartisan and changing election calendars. Local leaders and citizens weighed in on the potential change and whether we've gotten to a point where the government doesn't need to babysit us anymore on racial issues. Back in the 60s, race tension was everywhere, especially in southern states like Georgia. That's why the Voting Rights Act of 1965 was so important then, requiring those states to get federal permission before changing election laws, so minorities weren't excluded. Fast forward 2013.
I don't think we've made enough progress. We see every year thousands of reports of voter intimidation, especially by the Republicans.
Macon City Councilwoman Elaine Lucas says getting rid of that part of the Voting Rights Act would be wrong. But Republican Congressman Alan Peake believes it's time to move on.
It's a whole different day than it was in 1965, and to single out southern states where there, at that point in time, clearly there was some discrimination in the voting issues. I don't think you see that same type of issue at all today.
So I asked Maconites if they think their city and state have gotten past 60s era racism.
We got a long ways to go. Who would think that I will have a black president? But it's still prejudice in Macon.
I think we've got good progressive leaders.
Racial profiling people, you can't walk down the street being black without them jumping out on you. You got your ID on you.
Peake says some politicians use the racial tension of long ago to inflame the public today for political reasons.
There are those who choose to continue to use the charge of racism to their own personal benefit.
Unfortunately, Macon and Bibb County do have a dark history of racism, but people I spoke with say pulling the race card for political purposes is not for 2013.
What's more persuasive than to take an issue that's sitting on the extreme and blow it up? That's what politics are about, is using some type of issue to further a campaign.
The implications of doing away with the Voting Rights Act are far-reaching, but the question remains, have we come far enough to act on our own?
We do have a problem. Is it as big as it was? No, I don't think it's large.
I think it's a dangerous thing when you have the Supreme Court looking at dismantling something as important as Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act.
And I want to know what you think. Have we moved on as a community and as a country from the racism of our past? Should the Supreme Court do away with Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act? You can weigh in on my Facebook page. That's facebook.com/Andrew Reeser News, or you can follow me on Twitter @Andrew Reeser.